With pleasure. Let me think. Yeah, let me tell you the story of a great lady I have had the privilege to serve. In the wake of a fantastic career, she had been promoted to a senior vice president position in a very large global company. And she was a go-getter, super smart, very caring for her people. She was known to deliver on time, in full, and perfectly. And she had good relationships all around her, right? Her CEO and her discussed the opportunity of getting a coach because that was a big jump in her career, right? And she welcomed the opportunity, so we met. And after a few minutes in our first conversation, she dropped the guard because she could feel the space was so safe, right? And she told me that basically she had lost her mojo. She was super tired, overwhelmed with an ever-growing number of expectations, ever-growing number of stakeholders. She really had lost her confidence, in fact. So I asked her, what would you like instead? And she reflected and then told me, well, first, regain my confidence in my ability to succeed as an SVP. It's so important to me, and it's important for the organization, right? And then she mentioned also that she would like to create a strategy because she had not had time to do so, and she was expected to do it, right? And then she told me she'd like to gain influence in a very political matrix. And those expectations were only the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. We had some deeper work to do to make all of that and more possible. So we came to our first session, and that great lady had completed some assessment about her emotional intelligence, her saboteurs, her approaches to influence, and her deep motivation drivers. And the point was to grab that chance to update her self-awareness, which is really an important first step towards updating your self-management and your self-leadership, and then, and only then, on that healthy basis, update the way you manage and the way you lead, right? So in our first conversation, we examined all of the data and discussed what that inspired to her, right? And quickly we could see that her saboteurs were not helping her because she was trying to make everybody happy, and she wanted things to be done to perfection, in fact, which occasionally could induce some micromanagement from her part. After we had done this exploration about how she is at the moment, right, professionally, I asked her how she was personally, and then she dropped down the guard a bit more and cried a bit, which happens a lot in coaching and is super healthy. And she told me she had neglected her well-being for so long. She had sacrificed it to serve her family and to serve the business, in fact, right? And so we decided we were going to take care of this issue first, before anything else, right? And so we found out ways to restore her physical stamina, her intellectual vigor, her emotional resilience, right? She made a plan, and little by little, she regained her well-being, right? And her family started to be happier as well, and far less worried about her, right? She protected me time, she protected quality time with her family, and she set boundaries about that nobody could infringe, right? That is always the first part of the coaching work, and it's extremely important. And then we came to her first stated objective of the coaching engagement, which was restore her confidence, right, in her ability to succeed in her job, right? And that's where we came back to her saboteurs and other negative behavioral triggers, in fact, from the initial assessment that she had taken, right? And it came out clearly that she had an imposter syndrome. She was thinking kind of, yeah, what if I'm not cut for it? and I've just been promoted for the sake of diversity. So management can tick the box, there is diversity in the top team in the global company, right? And then we explored that. We looked at the strengths she was bringing to the job, right? The areas for development as well. And that was a good way to let go of some of the influence of that imposter syndrome, right? We looked also at the fact that she was intimidated by her mostly male colleagues, right? And she was thinking, wow, they are so ambitious and so upfront about it, but this is disgraceful for a lady, right? And she had another couple of limiting beliefs, including she, being a woman, has to do a better job than the men out there, right? And she needs to get everybody's vote, right? And she's got to be doing a great job at everything, right? So we dismantled those beliefs, right? And then replaced them by more supportive beliefs, right? And then we focused again on the job, gaining clarity about what matters most. We found out she needed to empower her people a lot more, right? Let go of perfection and replace it by the art of good enough, right? Delivering good enough, just at the level needed by the business, right? Which is a very important shift. We also reflected about how she could become assertive in a respectful manner and practice that, and she walked the talk, of course, and that really helped. She also set boundaries about what she could accept and what she would not accept, and we also worked out the importance of empathizing with people, but at the same time staying detached from the situation so she can stay a robust thinking partner. Okay. Then we tackled the objective on crafting a strategy, which was a joy for me as the rest of the work, but that joy was particularly resonated with my last corporate job where I was a global VP for strategy, in fact. So I loved partnering with that client of mine on crafting her strategy. We had a fun time and it came out really well. The strategy was very well received. And then we tackled her third objective, which was gaining influence across the highly political matrix at work. But that was really easy because of the previous work, in-depth work we had done, right? Well, it was measured. We are very results orientated in coaching, of course, right? So there was a 360 about 9 months after the start of the coaching engagement. And well, it came out, people were really engaged, and people were saying that client of mine had created kind of a talent factory around her. She seemed to succeed with ease in her position, which is most precious comment, of course, and our target, right, as coaches, to enable clients to empower themselves to succeed with ease. And people recognized she had a vision. She was implementing her strategy in a very agile manner. She was respectfully assertive. She was a role model, actually, in collaboration across functions, and a role model, period, for many people, in fact. And her business KPIs were met that year. Some of them were exceeded, actually, so we could be really happy about that. And most importantly, she was healthy, she was happy, and so was her family.